is basically, as I said, that this is basically the introduction part. So here I have shown a couple of characters, like the villain. I have not exposed the who is that real villain over here. So he is the businessman. Just a small glimpse I have shown.
मुट्ठी में कुछ सपने लेकर
The entire characters
भर
have
कर
not
जीवों में
been yet
आशाएं,
explored. So they are yet
दिल
to open
में
up.
है
So
अरमान
that's why I
यही
said that I have given all the
कुछ कर
masalas
जाएं,
in the first
कुछ
book.
कर
Yeah. So
जाएं.
I'm also a common person like you and all my listeners, but I have been fortunate enough to burn a little extra midnight oil and creating works that might outlast me. And this endeavor is driven by same desire that compels us to create our progeny, a legacy that endures beyond our time. So I'm deeply grateful to the Almighty, my family, and my employers who have allowed, supported, and inspired me to work and capture my imaginations and creativity through these books and poems. I have always been a poet in my heart since my childhood. So the recent book, which named as Krishna Karna Sambad, is my first published collection of the poems. Every aspect of this book, from its content to its design, has been meticulously crafted by me. So this book is personal creation, a reflection of my journey, but it is also available for others to read, realize, and cherish.
Wow, that was some nice introduction. And as you say, some extra midnight oil? No, that is a lot of extra midnight oil. When I was going through your website and all your work experience and everything, this is so diverse, so diverse.
Thank you very much for the appreciation.
Now, in your book, Krishna Karna Samvad, you have given newness to the age-old exchange through poems. Fantasy poems, not the regular ones.
See, there is already a poem available by named as Karnakunti Sambad. So basically, that poem actually inspired me to write this book.
Acha.
That is available in Bengali.
Okay.
That poem I have read in my childhood. I never thought that I'll write in this because basically I'm a author who writes in thriller genre and business and entrepreneurship genre, especially into management side. But this book born out of my own experience living alone in Nigeria. I was there in Nigeria. It came in my mind, and during which I revisited the Bhagavad Gita because I carry Bhagavad Gita with me, and I realized that these two characters are very prominent characters, and these two are very powerful characters. One is God, another is demigod. So could be best converse and explain the concept of attachment, life, growth, suffering in a manner that remains relevant to today's vulnerable world. And when you live in solitude, you learn that we come into this world alone and leave it alone. Everything else is an illusion, a matrix, or maybe a maze, whatever we believe. Whatever we add on, it is basically what we desire.
What we desire. So, yes.
So even our body, which we become so attached to, is left behind when we come out of this maze. So our pain and sorrow stem from these attachments, basically. So I have come to understand that life on earth in any form is about remembering God through penance and learning. So during this span in Nigeria, 6 months, I was living almost alone and not much people to interact except my duty hours. So I thought that that is a kind of time when I thought about writing this kind of poem, and this is how it came in.
Wow, amazing. So, जैसा अभी आपने कहा कि when you live in solitude, mostly ये चीजें तब strike होती हैं. There's a lot of learning when you're alone. Now, आपने इस चीज को admit भी किया है. People take it the other way and they say कि this is my knowledge. This is not my learning, but this is my knowledge.
मेरा इसमें ज्यादा ज्ञान जानकारी तो है नहीं, बट बेसिकली Knowledge is again a very vague or relative concept because knowledge is all about experience, what we learn or maybe we have learned. बट बेसिकली व्हाट आई हैव रियलाइज्ड कि ये जो जन्म है, मनुष्य जन्म है, जो सबसे सर्वश्रेष्ठ जन्म है, इसमें हम लोगों का जो सोल है, ये
जी
कभी ना कभी डिजायर किया था पृथ्वी लोक में आने के लिए
जी
एंड
दिस लाइफ
या दिस लाइफ एंड कुछ काम करने के लिए, कुछ कर्म करने के लिए
हम्म
एंड वो कर्म का द्वारा कुछ नॉलेज गेन करने के लिए, हासिल करने के लिए एंड फिर वापस जाने के लिए. सो नॉलेज, एक्सपीरियंस, ज्ञान जो भी आप बात करेंगे, सभी कर्म योग है, भक्ति योग है, जो भी है,
हम्म
तो वहीं से आता है. और हम लोग आते हैं यहाँ पे बेसिकली उसको अचीव करने के लिए
अचीव करने के लिए जी
और फिर वापस जाते हैं.
वेरी वेल सेड वेरी वेरी वेल सेड थैंक यू Indian mythology has inspired countless works, but like your series named Patal Lok, it incorporates celestial weapons, secret tunnels, and geopolitical intrigue. How do you balance respecting the sanctity of ancient mythology while making it accessible and thrilling for the contemporary readers? Because again, there is a certain class of people who are open to reading and understanding this particular stuff.
Well, it's a again, it's a great story basically. I was standing in the Sri Lanka in some point of time, and Jaffna actually, the
Hmm.
northern part of Sri Lanka. So I was looking into Indian side and Dhanushkoti, and all these places were literally almost visible.
Hmm.
तो उस टाइम में मेरे को एक सडनली एक आइडिया आया कि यहाँ से अगर हम इंडिया को देखते हैं,
Hmm.
तो इंडिया इज बेसिकली कमिंग इन द वेस्टर्न साइड.
जी.
Then a couple of points came in my mind that I traveled to one very unknown temple in Odisha, and that temple is basically with Chandi Ma ka deity,
Hmm.
and that area is known as Paschima Lanka.
अच्छा.
So Paschima Lanka means western side of the Lanka.
Hmm.
From there itself, the idea came of the first book,
Hmm.
Mystery of Lankeshwari Devi and the Vault of Nagas. So
Hmm.
that's how the book concept came in, and a lot of folklores are there. And so because I generally go to the mostly unknown temple, because known temples you have too many people. I do visit, but
Hmm.
also I do visit mostly unknown temples,
Hmm.
and I try to explore the folklores, and I try to explore the architecture and all the history and all the things
Hmm.
that very few people they know about it. Majorly they are elderly people,
Hmm.
and you get time to spend time with them and talk, discuss, and whatever the story they tell, that uncovers a lot of mysteries basically.
Hmm.
And that's what fascinated me to writing those thriller series that is called Patal Lok.
Hmm.
And the first book and then the second book also came in last year. This year I was writing it, but somehow it got little bit distracted. So basically the not this year, rather 24 February 2024 February I released the second book.
Hmm.
So 20 to 25 February again the third book will come in. Every year one book of that series will
One
come
book.
in.
जी.
So I am waiting for that basically and designing the interiors and all. But
Hmm.
before that, I'll be releasing a book that will bring another side of the thriller that is
Hmm.
called The Nexus. That's a series I have designed, and I'm writing it right now.
Okay.
And there will be 7 books on that particular series that is called Jalisco series, the
अच्छा.
Operation Jalisco.
Hmm.
And that will bring basically the intercontinental challenges, the political instability, the war in
Hmm.
the backdrop, and the deep state theory, the espionage, and all those things.
Hmm.
majorly it's focused on to the particularly one incident happened very recently on India, and that been published into the newspaper. So from that particular concept, I started designing that particular series basically.
जी
Coming down to the basic point of the first thriller over there, I saw that the journey right now from the thriller, adventure, then mystery.
हम्म
I generally try to mix up all these tastes within my thriller series because that's a new kind of taste, and many of my readers
हम्म
they also said that this gives a new taste of a thriller. It's not a contemporary kind of thriller, or it's not a kind of contemporary taste. I'm trying to develop a different genre within mythological thriller segment, basically,
हम्म
within adventure and all this. More of realistic, connecting with the realistic events in the world which is happening. So over there, the concept of celestial weapons are coming in, and if you look at Pashupat Astra, that astra that is Trishul,
हम्म
which has been carried by Lord Shiva.
जी
Pashupat means that weapon which actually kills all the living beings in the
हम्म
world.
हम्म
This weapon is nothing but the hydrogen bomb, and the hydrogen bomb is more powerful than the atom bomb, which you have seen in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And it has been said, and many of the time the threat came in the world that if now a single atom bomb is been burst, right
हम्म
now there are so many types of atom bombs,
हम्म
maybe some tactical atom bomb or something, a lot of names, variations are there. But
हम्म
a real atom bomb, if it has been blast, that is having more power than 30 times of what we have seen in Second World War.
हम्म
So that threat is looming because of the geographic tension all across the world.
हम्म
You tell Russia, Ukraine, you talk about Israel, Syria, and all those. Even there is a foretale from Baba Bhanga that there will be a third world war which is going to happen just after the fall of the Syria, and
हम्म
fall of the Syria had been forecasted already by Baba Vanga.
yes
So there had been one forecast which was from Jagannath Malika,
हम्म
that is from Orissa. That Malika actually talks about that world will be again destroyed, and that destruction they have given 10 signs. Basically, it's all surrounding Orissa, Puri temple, and all.
हम्म
Over there, it said that 1 year will happen that Jagannath will come into the road, but there will be no disciples. And that had already happened in 22 July, the Rath Yatra. Jagannath came, but because of the COVID restrictions, people were not
there were
there.
no devotees yes जी
Yeah, so now the question comes that whether that had happened in past. Yes, it had happened in the past so
हम्म
many times, but basically because of the foreign invasion that had happened,
हम्म
but not because of this kind of crisis, right? And this crisis, this COVID kind of thing, was also been foretold into Jagannath Malika. So some stories have been also said that there is a Kalpavriksha which will be destroyed because of the thunderstorm within the Puri temple, and that had already happened. So I took the clue from there, and like in my this genre, I mean this particular series,
हम्म
it has been already discovered that 30th of June, the world is going to get destroyed. So my protagonist, he is trying to collect the different clues from five of the temples which are
हम्म
not that famous, but those five temples are having some secrets hidden behind.
हम्म
So one is Lankeshwari Devi temple, and then second had happened is another temple which is near to Hyderabad, near to our Lord Venkatesh temple, Tirupati. That is
जी
called Parshuram temple.
हम्म
And the third book is coming on one of the temple which is in Rajasthan, Udaipur. So
okay
that's one of the temple which has been called as Bhutnath temple. So ऐसा 5 टेम्पल को लेके हम ये करेंगे, बट इसका
हम्म
मेजर ये है कि celestial weapons are all built of our Panchabhut,
अच्छा।
5 elements.
जी।
So, ये 5 elements are basically our celestial gift,
हम्म।
which has God given, and without that, life cannot exist. So, ये जो thriller है, ये thriller is basically are based on this Panchabhut. But right now, I see that every thriller or every novel or any literature, if you look at,
हम्म।
it has its own life. When you write, you come out with the thinking that this is what I am going to write.
हम्म।
But when you really start in writing, then it has its own motion, it has its own dynamics, the character
जी।
evolves by its own,
हम्म।
and even being a writer, you have no control on it.
नो कंट्रोल। ट्रू।
So now my fiction is now going for the science fiction.
हम्म।
So I never thought of, but it is now
टेकिंग
going for.
इट्स शेप ऑटोमेटिकली।
Yeah, it takes the shape
हम्म।
automatically. The character evolves automatically,
जी।
and I don't do it, for my profession and
हम्म।
or for my any other things.
हम्म।
I write it, and I always encourage my readers to read it and give a very open feedback, and that's how it will go.
या। don't mind me asking this, but I would really love to know, how do you manage with the sanity that the research work and all the other input that is required for a book? Because you have so many books running in parallel. I mean, not just the books, but series of books. And
Correct.
you already know how many episodes you're going to give to each series.
There is a saying that making the first million is the toughest.
Hmm.
But once you know how to make the million, then next, again, there is a bar, like billion.
Hmm.
So most probably a person who knows to make billion, so he becomes billionaire, and a
Billionaire,
man who
yes.
becomes millionaire, so he
Huh.
becomes millionaire. So similarly, see this, when you take it as a process by process,
Hmm.
then naturally it looks tough. It takes a lot of time. Like the way I have developed my first book,
Hmm.
which is Patarloka, the Lankeshwari Devi Temple.
Hmm.
So that took enormous time. Like 2 years, I have done the research, and then the book came in.
जी।
Then the second book, it took only 1 year time. In between, I have written a couple of non-fiction books.
Hmm.
Today, basically, if you are looking for some ideas,
Hmm.
you are constantly bombarded with different news, media channels, movies.
Hmm.
So ideas, there is no dearth upon.
जी।
और कोई भी एक आइडिया जो करीब लगता है, उसको लेके पढ़ाई भी कंटिन्यूअस चलता रहता है.
Hmm.
So once you dive into it, then you see lot of variations, then you start tuning it as per your requirement, as per your taste. And sanity, as you said, that sanity can be maintained if you are not eager to earn money too quick, too fast. That doesn't take you to any place, basically. So I do not write to become a big author or to have a big name or fame. I write it
Hmm.
for myself. So I do it for my own satisfaction. So as long as I'll be doing it, I feel that I'll have that sanity.
Wow. The Patalok series itself, you have built it around the impending end of Kali Yuga that you have already mentioned, April 30, 2030. How did you conceptualize this deadline? Not at all taking in concern that Baba Wanga thing.
Hmm.
How does it shape the urgency in your writing?
See, Jagannath Malika by Achyutananda Das, you will get a lot of video in YouTube
Hmm.
by explaining, because once I wrote this book and I found that this topic become very hot, and a lot of people, they gave a lot of videos about this particular book, so you can get a lot of information about Achyutananda Das, Jagannath Malika.
Hmm.
And Malika is a compilation written almost 500 years before. So I saw it on my own eyes, that how it looks like. and it attributed a lot of prediction. It's not about Orissa. It's not about it's not about only India. It's also about the entire world.
Hmm.
Many of us, we think that all the yugas
Hmm.
are separated to each other equally.
Hmm.
Okay,
No, but that's
and
not the thing.
but that is not the thing. And
Yes.
many of the people, they also say that this is not Kali Yuga. This is the second phase of Dapar Yuga.
Hmm.
So there are so many talking on the astrology side, and there are so many nakshatras and many other things. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
So according to equinox-based time calculations and ancient cosmology predictions, these ages are dynamically shaped, basically.
Hmm.
So guided by astral and cosmic principles rather
Hmm.
than fixed periods of equal divisions. All right.
जी.
So this is one of the several prediction which sign the end of Kali Yuga. The prediction is that Kali Yuga will end within 9 years, 9 months, and 9 days of the happening of Jagannath will be on the road
Hmm.
without disciples.
Okay.
So that actually happened on 23rd June 2020.
जी.
So
9 years, 9 months, 9 days time from then.
yeah, so that comes in the 1st April to 2030.
Okay, understood. So, beyond the action and mystery, what philosophical or moral questions do you aim to explore through Patal Lok, through this particular series?
See, there are, if I answer this question, that will be spoiler to the readers to read. I feel
Okay.
that you must read it,
Huh.
but I can give you certain guidance. Like, see, I have not written a mythological book, all right?
Hmm.
My protagonist, he is basically an IFS officer, very
Hmm.
intelligent, very dynamic guy, but he came out of the UPSC being one of the topper. He is the IFS, but ultimately because of the situation, he had been appointed on a very special task force to save the history of India and also save it from some unknown threat who want to basically dig upon on these particular temples where the celestial weapons are there. Out of that, they want to make something big.
Hmm.
So that's the threat. Now, my protagonist, he gets into kind of undercover, and he landed upon with the mystery of Lankeshwari Devi temple.
Hmm.
And from there, his journey started. So that's the first book where he revealed that end is very near. The second book, he himself reveals himself that this is not his first birth. He is reincarnated. He was basically the son of Ulupi and Arjun.
My
His name is
goodness.
Iravan, and Iravan is one of the most if you look at Mahabharata, that over there you will discover that three perfect men were there in that particular time.
Hmm.
One is Lord Krishna, another is Lord Arjun. I mean Arjun, and second is Iravan because he was the son of Arjun.
Hmm.
So he had to sacrifice. He couldn't go for marriage. I mean, he couldn't. He was a very young guy. He was also younger than Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu was 18 and he was 17 only.
Hmm.
For a night, he has to marry Krishna's Mohini avatar, and then he sacrificed himself for the winning of the Pandavas.
जी.
But that is not the complete karma. He has a lot of karma. So he came back right now as a protagonist of my thing. And right now he is into a journey which is basically a celestial journey, not of the discovery part, but rather he is now getting trained under Parashuram. And that's how the series will go on. So I don't want to talk much, but if you can read it, and you see that for my readers, my books are not that costly. Number one, it's always below 300 rupees if you want to get the paperback. And I always keep electronic copy free of cost for my readers because I encourage the reading and that should not be costed. So anybody who is having Amazon Prime, they can read it free of cost in their Kindle.
This is an environment that we people are living in, and there's another environment that you have in you, and you're exploring it.
You know, like many of the authors, they say that you should write the series and then talk. And many of the authors, they say that, you know, the series is not defined. I don't know how many series, how many books will be there in a series. So it evolves with time.
जी.
Like even Arthur Conan Doyle, he made his protagonist Sherlock Holmes dead. But because of the demand of the readers, he had to bring him again alive. He had shown that the last event has not happened. It was an accident, but ultimately Sherlock Holmes survived.
जी.
There are so many other dimensions like espionage, other dimension like cyber threat, cyber security, and many other things are intergeographical politics and all. Everything can evolve a topic or a book out of that. And at this point of time, I'm writing a book on that subject only. So it overlaps each other, but you know, you should not be monologous, number one. Number two, monotonous to the people. So I try to keep things little separate than this. So that series is basically a mythological thriller series. So a lot of ancient characters who are not famous, like Iravan, I said, like Ulupi, I said. Arjun, everybody knows, but not everybody knows about Ulupi.
ये कहानी है मेरे प्रभु श्री राम की, उनकी जो मानव से भगवान बन गए, जिनका जीवन था मर्यादा का उत्सव और नाम था राघव, जिनके धर्म ने तोड़ दिया अधर्म का अहंकार, गाथा उस रघुनंदन की, युग युगांतर से जीवित और जागृत ये कहानी है रामायण की।
भिक्षाम देहि।